the new set has given us a ton of stuff to play with, from Zekrom and all those other cards like Jellicent, but honestly, all of that pales in comparison to Wugtrio, which is something we're finally able to play again, and is finally playable thanks to a couple different cards that we got from the new set, which is Ignition Energy, which will give us 3 colorless energies on our evolution Pokemon, which is very important because that's going to make it so we can attack with our Undersea Tunnel for pretty much nothing. And then also Hilda, which is super big because it not only gets us our Wugtrio, but also gets us the Ignition Energy, which is super, super helpful. But one other change that's pretty important is that we get to play Tool Scrapper now, and this doesn't sound like that big of a deal, but right now most people aren't playing switch cards. They're actually relying on playing like 1 or 2 Air Balloon. So if we can get our opponent to commit to playing the Air Balloons, then we can go Tool Scrapper, pull them off, and that sets them up for getting Counter Catchered later on in the game. So that way we can just go Counter Catcher over and over, be very annoying. One of the other ways that we're going to do this is by trapping them with the Gravity Gemstone. We're going to be able to also run Sacred Ash, which is a newer card from Destined Rivals that is very good as well, because it's just better than Super Rod, and we're not reshuffling energy, so, you know, more Pokemon the better. And then last but not least, our A-Spec of choice is going to be the Neutralization Zone, just so that way our, you know, fun little Wugtrio can't be attacked by big bad EXs, because who needs those? We are playing a copy of Shaymin. This is just because it can be useful. It's not as relevant, so you could cut it if you want, but I do think it's kind of nice to have just as a little bit of bench protection, since we're playing, you know, the Dunsparce and the Wugtrio, or the Wiglett, which, you know, are both very low HP. We are playing a copy of Redeemable Ticket as well, because we have no way to take prize cards, so if a bunch of your Wiglets or Wugtrios or something get prized, you kind of need to Redeemable Ticket them out, so it feels pretty bad when that happens, so you're definitely going to want that as well. I play 1 copy of Air Balloon as, again, just a way to rotate stuff around if I need to, whether that be a Wugtrio or predominantly Shaymin. But if, you know, you never know when you might need it, so it's always good there. That being said, that's going to be it for the list overview. But I will, you know, see you guys all in Game 1 in a second. This list, if you want to try it out for yourself, will be down in the description. And yeah, just before we get into the games, I'm going to give a special shout out to the channel members. Thank you guys so much for that additional level of support. It really does go a long way and means a lot. So thank you guys so much for that. For anybody else, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And if you're interested in becoming a channel member, you'll get access to our stream VODs, as well as access to videos early and things like that, and the ability to play me on stream if you're on when I'm streaming. But yeah, that's just about it. I will see you guys all in game number 1 in a second. And yeah, peace. Alright, we're into game number 1, and we're going to be going first. We open our Dunsparce. We open Buddy Poffin and Artazon, which is pretty good. If we can top deck into a Hilda or something, that would be awesome. We see Ethan's Typhlosion, another deck that's very, very good right now, and is a deck that I like a lot. Ooh. Are all of our Dunsparces prized? That kind of sucks. Well, all but like this one anyway. It's fine though. We'll make do with just looping some Wiglets. And then we'll pass for right now because we don't really get anything off the Great Ball. So even if it's just 1 card more from drawing, we may as well get that so we get a little bit deeper into our deck, especially because we can always Artazon first. Even though I don't think there's anything to Artazon for, so we'll see what we get off our top deck. Ethan's Typhlosion is very, very good right now. It's the deck that I play on, like, in paper, and it's very good, especially now because of the new reprint of the Silver Bangle. I know it's called Brave Bangle now, but even still, that additional 30 damage goes such a long way. It's very good. They get the TM Evo off. What's nice is that we can Gravity Gemstone the Dreepy later on, which will be pretty impactful because Ethan's Typhlosion typically only plays like 6-ish energy, and they're going to want to go on to the Typhlosions and like Cyndaquils and so forth. Most decks are only using the Dracloak as a draw engine, so I don't have to worry about a, you know, like an EX or anything like that. Alright, we see Iono. I'm fine going Great Ball. We do get ourselves the Dunsparce. Alright, I'm fine going to Dunsparce here first. And then I'm going to go Iono. See if I can get Wugtrio into something a little better. This is where if I had one more Dunsparce, I'd feel a lot better about it. But for right now, I'm just going to grab myself the Shaymin. We'll go Runaway Draw. That way, I can just put up Shaymin as something to get KO'd, because that'll activate my counter catchers and things like that as well. And then I can go Buddy Poffin, just grab this back. And I can pass. And so, now that I have the Hilda, I'm fine with, like, if they knock out Shaymin, it's cool. I get to bring the Dunsparce in. I can go Hilda, grab myself Reversal Energy, and a new Dudunsparce, draw that, start kind of popping off from there. Seeing the Victini is also really good, so this is a misplay that they're making. If you know your opponent is playing a control deck of any style, you want to limit what you're playing on your bench as much as you possibly can. And so having cards like Victini on the board where you're going to be one-shotting regardless because Wugtrio is only 90 HP, having these extra targets for me to retreat lock is really, really bad. Alright, they get double Kolava and a Cyndaquil. This is going to be to pull a bunch of Ethans out of the deck. I think they just don't really know like what my deck does yet. Is kind of the biggest issue I think they're potentially running into. They can attach an energy to this, I believe. Right? Yeah, because they haven't attached an energy for turn. So they can attach an energy here to the Typhlosion, or like retreat this out. Or they can just simply go for the Combustion and knock me out for weakness. They go Ultra Ball. They almost have all the Ethans out of their deck. Though, again, because of the fact that I'm such a low HP target, keeping Ethans, like at least keeping some available, isn't a bad idea. They choose to retreat and bring in the Typhlosion to attack with, which again, I don't think is the right choice. Specifically because like now you're an energy down when you don't need to be. But we'll see. Buddy Blast comes in. We'll bring in the Dunsparce. We get another Hilda. So what I'm going to do here is go Counter Catcher, pull up the Victini, go Hilda for this and this. Use my Dudunsparce on the Runaway Draw, where I do get the Gravity Gemstone. And now I can go Artazon to grab a new Dunsparce. And then from here, I can go for the Undersea Tunnel. It requires 2 energy for them to be able to retreat. We only get 3 discarded, but that's fine. We get rid of an Arven, a Redeemable Ticket, and a Nest Ball. But they shouldn't be able to retreat, so we should just be able to like keep doing this over and over. Unless they have a switch or a potential Air Balloon. But if that's the case, we'll probably... It all depends on what we draw. It would change how we play it, but like we already have Counter Catcher available again. So we could literally just go Counter Catcher, Hilda, pull this Victini back up. Or if they go like Air Balloon or something to the Victini, just do the same thing to the Dracloak. But I'm pretty confident that they can't really move the Victini at this point. There's a Typhlosion. I assume they play 1 to 2 Air Balloon though, so obviously like they can go for a KO. There's one energy. That's not enough to retreat with. But it tells us that there's 3 energy in play right now, which is fine. We could always counter catcher this up. If they discard the energies anyway, we'll just pull it back as well. Yep, and if they pass on this turn, we get to go for the Hilda to grab ourselves these and just re-prepare just like that. And then we can get rid of both of these. They don't really matter anymore. We'll go to Dunsparce, make this, go for the runaway draw, go Artazon just to pull that back out, and then we'll go Undersea Tunnel, hoping for 3 heads. Alright, that's close enough. We get rid of 6 cards. Getting rid of Rare Candy's not bad. Getting rid of a Night Stretcher is pretty nice. Getting rid of the Iono is pretty important because that would allow them to continue to kind of like stall the game out. But now that we got that extra turn, and like this is the important part, is like even though it's not much, it's just 1 extra turn. It does make a difference, specifically because of the fact that now there's 3 energy in the discard pile. We did already get rid of 1 Night Stretcher, but more importantly, with the 1 turn that bought us earlier was enough that we were able to replace our Dodrio, or our Wugtrio rather. So now we don't need to play Hilda for the turn. We can just go counter catcher, pull this back up, go Arven to grab ourselves Gravity Gemstone all over again, and we can go Ultra Ball here. And so because of that, I'm fine going Night Stretcher for return, going Artazon. Oh right, I already pulled this. Oops. And then I can get rid of the Ionos. Again, they're not really relevant to me. I want to make sure that I'm keeping the... I want to make sure that I'm actually keeping the cards in my opponent's hand. If I allow that, they'll just be allowed to reshuffle. So it won't be worth as much. And then from here, I will go and Buddy Poffin just to pull this back out. Obviously, I could wait and then go Sacred Ash after or something, but I don't think my opponent's going to be able to do anything from this point anyway. So I can go Undersea Tunnel, where we get 2 heads, 1 tails, so still pretty good for me. They do play the Psychic Energies. I guess that they do play the Draco EX, which I don't think is good, in my personal opinion. But we get rid of even more energy, so they might... There's already 6 energy in the discard pile, 1 on the Typhlosion. So I don't even think they have enough energy in the deck to do anything. They get rid of the Ethans. Let's see. They have 1, so they're playing 8 energy, which is a lot, but I guess that's why they're playing the 2. I guess they have to play a lot because they have the 2 Psychic Lunge. They go Boss's Orders. That's fine by me. I have Air Balloon. And then they use Air Balloon, or they use Boss's Orders to get around that, so that way they can retreat out the Victini. We bring this back in, and then we have Arven, so it doesn't really make a difference. We just go Arven again for another counter catcher. We go counter catcher, pull the Victini back up, and then we're back like we never left. We just grab another Wugtrio at this point. And let's see, if we get triple heads here, we just close the game out right now. 1. Unfortunate. Alright, the reverse of what we've been getting, which is fair, that's due. We do get rid of a Super Rod, so they can't stall the game out much longer, but again, it's not going to matter. The game is essentially over at this point, because even if they Arven for an Air Balloon or a Switch, bring the Typhlosion back in, we just do the same play all over again. And we Sacred Ash to just put everything back in the deck. But yeah, that's going to be game number 1. Coin flipping for it is just a lot of fun, so yeah, I'm probably going to just play a lot of this. But alright, I'll see you guys in game 2 in a sec. Peace. Alright, we're into game number 2, and we're going to be going first. We get our Wiglett. We get a couple different cards as well, which is nice, in the Buddy Poffin and our Artazons. So we'll see... We see Squawkabilly from our opponent. We'll go Buddy Poffin, grab ourselves 2 more Wiglets. We see triple Wugtrio, and our Neutralization Zone, which is kind of like the main things we need to see. Go Artazon here. Use Artazon to grab ourselves 1 more Dunsparce, and then we'll pass, hoping that we get into like Hilda or something like that. That would be pretty good. Or if it's Donk and they take a knockout, and then we top deck into... Ooh. That's interesting. The cover fossil. Fez. Alright, well, we have a lot of targets that we can kind of take advantage of. I assume they're going to retreat out, bring in Cleffa. Yep. What's nice is like them going Squawk just kind of helps us, because it helps thin their deck out a little bit, especially like if they hit a research after this. They retreat, you know, go Cleffa, draw a couple more cards out. We get to play the Gravity Gemstone down. That'd be pretty good. They go for the Jock. For... How are you supposed to say that? Taratuga? I think I said that right. Ooh, we top deck into Wugtrio. That's kind of nice. So what we'll do is we'll go Artazon here. Grab ourselves 1 more Dudunsparce. We'll go Runaway Draw. I'm going to go Great Ball first. This is just to thin my deck out a little bit, because I really want to hit a Special Energy. Unfortunately, I didn't, which feels a little bit, you know, not great, but it's fine. We'll go Buddy Poffin for the Dunsparce, and then we'll end up just passing our turn. We can't do anything anyway right now. We do have Ultra Ball. We do have the Tool Scrapper. And the more that we kind of both do nothing, it's okay with me. I need them to take a knockout anyway, so that way, like, my other cards kind of become more available. So it's not that big of a deal. And plus, every turn that passes, if we're just going back and forth, is, you know, even better for me. Squawkabilly comes in. This is going to be able to attack. It does what? This attack does 30 damage for each item card in your opponent's discard pile. I mean, that's pretty cool. I have 30, so 90 damage. That's kind of all it needs, but that's a pretty cool attack. We'll bring the Dunsparce in. We get the Pokégear. We'll go for that. Unfortunately, we missed. That sucks. I can get rid of this and the Artazon. I don't think they're going to matter. Use that to grab myself the Dunsparce. I need to bail myself out because my current hand is not great. We get a Reversal Energy, so that does help. Let's bring this in. We'll go Artazon, grab our Dunsparce, go Great Ball, where we find 1 more. That feels better, because now we can place this. hopefully draw into some, you know, counter catcher at least. Okay, that's way better. Because we get to place this, go Wugtrio, go Reversal Energy, Gravity Gemstone, counter catcher, and I don't know, I guess we'll pull up the Squawkabilly. Why not? I guess Fez is the better target, but I don't think it's gonna matter that dramatically. Let's see. We get rid of a Pokégear, a Caracosta. All right, and our opponent's just gonna concede. So they had no way to retreat, and they just could see the inevitable. That's why, like, man, the combo works so well. Like, just being able to go Gravity Gemstone counter catcher. Like, obviously that combo is incredible. But just as a whole, like, so much of this deck just comes together through the Dunsparces and stuff. But yeah, that's going to be game number 2. Fun to see another rogue deck. The Ancient Seaweed is a interesting way to, you know, name that attack. But alright, we'll jump into game 3 in a second, and I'll see you guys there. Peace. Alright, we're into game number 3. Our opponent won the coin flip, but opted for us to go first. Which is honestly one of the good things about the current, like, there's not a ton of great things about the current meta for Wugtrio. But this is one of the good ones, and that's the fact that you get the benefit of most people wanting to go second. Well, I'd love to be able to grab a Wiglett, but the Pokemon card game doesn't want me to. So that kind of sucks. Let's try it again with an Artazon. Hey, look at that. Alright, we have 4 Wugtrio in our deck. We have 1 more Hilda. We have Air Balloon, we do have our Neutralization Zone, and our Special Energies. So that's good at least. We'll be able to pass. We can go Hilda for a Dudunsparce and a Turbo Energizer, because we do have Ultra Ball in order to find ourselves the Wugtrio, unless we just end up drawing one anyway. That was minorly annoying, but anyway, to the point I was making. The reality right now is that most decks want to be going second, so that way they can utilize supporters and all that kind of stuff. And also, typically they want to be able to go for like TM Evo plays and stuff like that. And so because of that, this deck typically wants to be going first, just so that way you can get your Dunsparces and like your Wiglets and all that kind of stuff all set up. And so with that, it's just like, you get the benefit of, like, even if you don't win the coin flip, more often than not, your opponent's going to have you just be going first anyway. So you don't have to worry about it as much. They don't get an energy, so they don't get the TM Evo play off. That's fine with us. We're going to go Artazon here for 1 more Wiglett. Then we'll go grab the Dunsparce and a Turbo Energizer. Go the Dunsparce down. Runaway draw, where we get our Wugtrio, so we can slap that boy down. Go Turbo Energizer, and then we can hold off. We don't have to play anything else for right now. We're kind of good as we are. We're going to be able to flip 3 heads here. Only 2. But that's still good. We get rid of a Rare Candy, which is nice. We get rid of a Pidgeot, which is also nice. The Fighting Energy doesn't really matter, and the big Air Balloon is kind of nice to be able to retreat lock stuff later, but won't matter as much right this second. We see a Pallaswine, TM Evo. I assume they have an energy to use it. Alright, Arven, I'm assuming that's to grab themselves like Earthen Vessel. Yep, and a Rocky Chestplate. So they're going to have Mamoswine Blaziken at the end of this turn. Interesting that they're playing the Cynthia's Power Weight. Don't really think that's the right call. But what do I know? We'll see. They go Artazon. Hopefully we can find another Ignition Energy. Like, if we can get into Hilda, that'd be pretty cool. What if there was an item card that just got us a special energy? That'd be pretty hype. Probably be kind of broken, though. Alright, they go for TM Evo. For the Blaziken and Mamoswine, I assume. Yep. which is all fine by us. Alright, there's a reversal energy. I'm gonna get rid of this and this. Use that to find myself a Dudunsparce. We'll go Artazon for one more. Go Runaway Draw. Alright, we keep finding reversal energies, but not what we're actually looking for. So we'll go Arven here. I'm gonna go Gravity Gemstone, actually. And a Pokégear. Go Gemstone onto the Wugtrio and pass. That way, they shouldn't be able to retreat unless they're going to attach an energy for turn. And then go Blaziken in order to get around me. But if they do that, then they're not going to be able to actually attack with the Mamoswine either. So that's fine. The only way they get an attack off on this turn is if they go Rare Candy Mamoswine off this Iono. And we kind of got everything we wanted if that happens regardless. So we're not too upset with the outcome. But let's see, did they get the Rare Candy? That's what this is going to come down to. We see, we do have Neutralization Zone. Alright, there's the Mamoswine. Alright, so they did hit the Rare Candy Mamoswine, so kind of annoying, but whatever. But with them knocking us out, that does open up the reversal energy, so we don't have to find our last ignition. They knock us out. But that's totally fine. We can go for a Rare Candy, or not Rare Candy. We can go for, you know, a play to capture. We'd probably pull up the Blaziken just because that would force them to have a fire energy in hand. They only have a, you know, right now they don't have that. But we also have the opportunity as well to go ahead and just go Neutralization Zone, force them to have a stadium. Which we don't see right now. We can assume they play one, but, you know, you can never know. Alright. We get the Runaway Draw. Go Buddy Poffin, grab ourselves 2 more of these. And then from here, honestly, fine going Arven for Counter Catcher and Gravity Gem. We'll retreat this out, bring this in. Go Reversal Energy, Counter Catcher, pull this up with another Gravity Gemstone. Kind of force them to have the out for right now, which is okay. We get rid of 6 cards. The Colorus is good for us. The getting rid of the Arven's good. Getting rid of the Boss's Orders is good. Getting rid of another Pidgeot is also good because that's 2 Pidgeot in discard. So they might not have a third in order to make the Pidgeot EX on this turn. And if that's the case, they won't be able to just go Pidgeot to pull the fire energy out. Also, they might just not be playing the fire energy at all. And if that's the case, then we don't even have to worry about the Blaziken attacking us. Because otherwise, they would have to go Blaziken's ability for the fighting energy in the discard pile. Alright, they do have Super Rod. That's going to put the Pidgeot back in deck. They go Ultra Ball for Pidgeot, which is weird because you could just use your other Mammoth Hauler. Unless there's something they're holding on to that for. Pidgeot could potentially find them switch. Or Air Balloon or the Fire Energy. Okay, it finds them Fire Energy. So they're just going to go ahead and attack with that. Alright, they go Colorus. So all of that's fine with us because we can bump the stadium with Neutralization Zone. but also, because of the way their energy's kind of shaked out, we can end up trapping, potentially, what we can do here is also go Grand Tree to get ourselves another Dudunsparce guaranteed before we start going Runaway Draw. Alright, there's our other counter catcher and our reversal energy. We'll bring this up. So now what we can do is go counter catcher. Just to bring this up, they don't have any energy in the discard pile in order to use with the Blaziken as of right now. Obviously, we're about to start discarding more cards, but even with that, what we're really looking for is to see if we can hit, you know, a stadium or two. We do get another Wugtrio. Now from here, we'll go for the Great Ball, which we aren't able to find. We'll go Great Ball again, which does give us one more Dunsparce. But I'm fine going Dunsparce. We'll place that. We'll go Night Stretcher for Wiglett. Place that down. And then from here, what we'll do is go Reversal Energy onto the Wugtrio. We'll go Neutralization Zone down, retreat, bring this in, and then from here, go Hilda. Yep. And that was going to be the end of the game. They did not have a way to retreat out the Mamoswine. It doesn't appear like they don't have any energy in their discard pile to use with the Blaziken because they already had to attach it to the active. They probably don't play a Switch or an Air Balloon and potentially don't even play another Stadium. So yeah, that was going to be the end of that game for sure. So I think we played that one pretty decently. There was definitely some parts we could have played a little better. But obviously, very fun time. Love playing Wugtrio. Definitely try it out for yourself, but we'll jump into the breakdown in a second, and I'll see you guys there. Peace. Going into the breakdown for Wugtrio, I'm extremely biased, so our fun is going to be as many stars as I could fit into the format. And then our power is going to be 0 because this deck literally never attacks ever for damage. I guess you could use Headbutt for 30 if you want, and if you randomly are up against like a Cyndaquil, I guess... No, Cyndaquil's 70 HP, so it literally wouldn't even knock that out, hitting it for weakness. I guess you could knock out a Badoo or something, but regardless, that's like never going to happen. The consistency for this deck feels really good. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 for that regard. I think that it is pretty consistent. The biggest problem that you run into is your matchups. Your matchups are in this thing where they kind of suck, but everything is winnable. Like... None of your matchups feel incredible, but none of them feel like that terrible because there is an out. It just depends on what you discard. And so like that's the biggest thing. It's like this game, or not the game, but the deck is just kind of a straight low tier gamble that can pay off, and when it does, it's the most satisfying thing ever. When it doesn't, then it's like, whatever, I'm playing Wugtrio. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. You get to be like, well, my deck sucks, and that's why I lost. It's not a skill issue. It's a game issue if you lose. And then if you win, you get to be the, you know, I won with Wugtrio. My coin flips went crazy. It's totally skill, not luck. So it's the best thing you can do as a TCG player. And so, yeah, I'm going to give it its matchups a 2. Overall, this deck is like a 2 out of 5. But in terms of, like actually being great... But in terms of just like being fun, it's great. I love this deck as something just to mess around with and just have a great time. If you're having a bad day and you just want to, you know, hang out and just try to relax, playing Wugtrio is a ton of fun because it's like, it's so carefree and just a great time. So yeah, I had to cover it as soon as possible because boy, do I love Wugtrio. But that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you so much. I will see you guys all in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, let me know what you want to see in the next video, so that, or in the, you know, future videos and stuff like that as we continue to cover all the new cards. And I will see you guys all in the next one. Peace.